Okay, perfect.
Yeah, talking to the mic.
Okay. Okay, I'm Faith Springwater. Maddie Berry. Amaya Bearpaw. We're here with the 2023 Remember the Removal Bike Ride. We just got back on June 24th. We left May 31st. We traveled from New Echota, Georgia, all the way to Tahlequah, Oklahoma, averaging, or not averaging, it was about 950 miles. We averaged about 50 to 60 miles a day. So we are just glad to be here and thankful that you guys had us come.
Okay. The Remember the Removal Bike Ride is a leadership program from youth from ages 16 to 24, as well as a mentoring part that is ages 34 and up.
You think we'd be better at this stuff? Okay. Are you done? Did you say? Okay. Oh, did I go too far? Okay. So, yeah, like I said earlier, this is an active mile bike ride,
Can you stand in front of the computer while you're speaking? Thank you.
Sorry. It's a 950-mile bike ride that retraces the northern route of the Trail of Tears, and we go through 7 states. Them being, we start in Georgia, Tennessee, Kentucky, Illinois, Arkansas, Missouri, and then in Oklahoma.
As you can see here, this is a picture of the New Echota historical site located near Calhoun, Georgia. We got to stop here in Calhoun. This was the starting point for our ride. So, and this was once the capital of the Old Cherokee Nation.
In this picture, we got running from New Echota to Red Clay, and we did about 53 miles, as you can see. Okay.
Yeah, that was me and Kinsey were in the front. Oh.
Special guest to your competition, this photo. Mr. Jack Baker, he was with us for the first 2 days of the ride to give us some more like insight on the historical sites that we were stopping at. So like, as you can see in this picture, we're where are we at? Is this at New Echota? Okay, this is at New Echota then, or Georgia. Somewhere in Georgia. Was obviously historically something that we needed to learn. But yeah, there's Jack.
We are so thankful for Jack. For this first and foremost, he did a great job. We learned a lot about our heritage due to him coming and being able to really give us some insight and information about our ancestors and everything. So we do really appreciate it. We got to come out there and teach us about our heritage. This was the first day of the ride from New Echota to Red Clay. We were saying Oxgon. That means left in Cherokee. This is marked by the Park Service signs. We got to see quite a few of those signs along the ride.
In this picture, we are at the Van House in Chatworth, Georgia, and we got to tour inside of it and see what it looks like.
I think there's also a few places like outside that we have to look at and everything. There's a lot of just different, I don't really know how to explain it. And then just the history behind all of it and why we visited there, why it's historically something that we need to learn as Cherokee people. Okay, next is Red Clay, Tennessee. It served as the de facto capital for the Cherokee Nation after Georgia banned Cherokee leaders from meeting in Echota. So we were able to go here. They sponsored a lunch for us, and we got to go hang out. We got to go Am I gonna spoil the next picture?
Correct.
If I talk about it? Yeah.
Hey, I want to talk about that. I'm kidding. I'm just.
We got to jump into what they call the blue hole. It stays, I think I remember them saying it stays at like at 54, 55 degrees all year round. So it was quite refreshing, body shocking to say the least. But it was really great that Red Clay State Park, they definitely hosted a really great day for us. It was very cool to learn everything in there. I got to shop around in the gift shop. So that was a really fun time. I'm gonna feel speak about it.
It was cold,
It was very cool.
but it felt good after a hot day. This is where we stopped at Rattlesnake Springs near Charleston, Tennessee. It was very emotional stop for all of us as riders, but I would speak on behalf of the Eastern Band. It was probably a little bit more touching and connecting to them. It was definitely connecting for us too, but for them, this is kind of where they turned around and went back home to Turkey.
I think several of our Eastern Band relatives had, maybe all of them, they were all related in some sort of way within an ancestor. And I think most of them had an ancestor that had turned around and left at this spot. So it was very touching for them.
In this photo, we're smiling through a hot day on our way to Blythe Ferry. And at Blythe Ferry, we were able to cross on a pontoon boat over the river.
It was to kind of mimic a ferry, because at this point, this is where the Cherokees crossed the river, and that was the last time they'd seen the Hawkins. Or ancestors, I would say the Cherokees, but.
This is Kinsey. When we were at the Blythe Ferry area, we got to look at the census on the stone walls, and we all had names on there. So we had these cool little wax paper things, and we were able to kind of, I don't know, engrave them out a little bit. I don't know. It was kind of cool. It was really neat. I've never done that, so that was really cool. But we all had some family members on there. So that was one of the things that we got to take home with us.
This is the third day of the ride, and it's when we went on the Cumberland Gap. It was absolutely terrible. I was exhausted, but we all made it up safely, thank goodness.
You can definitely tell in the picture in our faces the pain we were going through. But it was definitely challenging, but we just can't. We were on a bike and our ancestors had to walk back. So it made it a little bit more, it wasn't easy, but a little bit more easy on your mind to think about what our ancestors went through. Okay, this is our full team with Eastern Band. We were in Fayetteville, Tennessee after we successfully ascended and descended the two mountains. And this was probably one of the most exciting things to do was come down the hill. I mean, we were going pretty fast, but it just felt great to, after we climbed that altitude was really high. And so just coming down that was one of the most exhilarating feelings that, it was really early on. This is day 3. So it was really great to actually feel such a great feeling and such a great accomplishment. Day 3, and we saw like 20 more days to go. This was still Cumberland Gap when we were climbing. The pain is a little bit worse here. This was the second mountain. That is our teammate Sam, and then Maddie and I are in the back there. I think our faces during this whole picture, and it was just a really challenging mountain to climb.
This is finishing the second mountain, and we were so very happy to be at the top.
That first one wasn't as hard as the second one. I'll say that. I'm right there in the middle. My other teammates made it up before I did. So it was really, because it was really more challenging for me. I'm a little bit bigger, so. But this was just a gosh, this one makes me emotional. Obviously, there's a big feeling of relief that I felt at the top, and so when the girls just came and surrounded me, it was really great to feel. The team just being there to help me and comfort me. But if you can, like, obviously that second mountain was just a really tough one to climb, and the emotions were there.
We were very proud of her.
As if they didn't want the same mountain.
So then we got to stop at Port Royal State Park, and they had some preserved area of the trail. So along with our Eastern Band teammates and the 5 Cherokee Nation girls, we got to go and kind of walk exactly where our ancestors were. So that was really connecting to us to kind of be right in the footsteps of where they were. And we're thankful for these parks and park rangers that take good care of this area and keep it up to par for us. Bill's favorite.
Here is one of the signs of saying how far we've come and how far we have left to go before we get to the new trail.
One of Will's favorite pictures.
Has a lot of views on Facebook.
I actually didn't see this sign, but this was in Hopkinsville, Kentucky. This is where I think, is this where they had that breakfast for us? No. Dinner. Okay, well, we had dinner at the Trail of Tears Park in Hopkinsville, Kentucky. You know, like basically, we're really thankful for the parks that did host breakfasts, dinners, lunches, anything. They were all, you know, very welcoming and, you know, made little signs like this. Even though we were super distracted, super tired and everything, they were still there, lively, happy, you know, everything that they just wanted to make sure that we were provided for. It was really great. And we're very thankful for them.
This was one of the markers in Princeton, Kentucky. It was located at the Big Springs Cherokee campsite. This was just one of the many pictures that we took. So it was a cool place.
Here we are riding from Princeton to Manor Rock, and we actually got to go down to where the bell is, see where some of our ancestors had stopped while the river was frozen.
That's me in the front. We finally arrived in Manor Rock. I got us there. Manor Rock in Kentucky is a significant stop on the trail for our team. It's where, like Maddie said, our people took shelter under a rock. It's so they could survive through the winter weather that was going through there. That had frozen the Ohio River. So there's more. That's whenever we were under Mantle Rock, we kind of all just like hugged together and just kind of soaked in the moment. It was actually really fitting because, you know, they were, it's the winter weather, so they were cold, they were probably wet, they had to take shelter. And when we got there, thankfully, in that picture where I was leading our team down there, it wasn't raining. But when we got to Mantle Rock, it started pouring rain. So there's kind of the analogy of like they had to take shelter. And then we also had to take shelter because it was raining. It was fitting.
It's kind of just all, yeah. So this was another one of the historical sites. Obviously, the miles were a little bit less and a little bit more. So that was awesome. We had nearly reached 500, or at this point, we had nearly reached 500 miles to travel before reaching Westville, Oklahoma.
Probably what happened to that photo where we just looked so like.
Yeah, that will, yeah.
Okay, this is in Metropolis, Illinois, and they celebrate Superman, as you can see. And we got to go around looking at the statues and things.
Okay, so this is just our thumb team, obviously. And where we were standing up there waiting to prepare to ride from the Ohio River, which flows between Kentucky and Illinois, where thousands of our Cherokee people crossed in the winter of 1839. It's kind of a chilly morning. We had our jackets on.
We had finished like right on the other side of the river, and then the next day we started across. I got to read part of the journal from Daniel Buttrick. He traveled with the Richard Taylor Detachment in 1838 through 1839. And I was the person reading the journal that morning.
Here we are in Hamburg Hill Trailhead site near Jonesboro. And we stopped here and went on the National Historical Trail. Took a picture at this sign. There was some park rangers there that told us a little bit about the area.
So this is before leaving the Trail of Tears State Park near Cape Girardeau, Missouri on June 14th. The names on, Will takes awesome photos. So we're gathered there to pray before we leave on our ride. And the shot of the trailer has names of the Cherokee people who signed a petition in 1836 to protest being forced to move. Which is also on our kits. It's the white part of our kits has all of those names on there too. So which we'll take some photos of it.
We got to visit the Bushy Head Memorial at the Trail of Tears State Park. We just kind of rode down a little hill and got to see that, and then got started with our day. It says Missouri.
We're in Missouri in this one, and it's a 74-mile day. And we were all exhausted. I don't know if I was gonna make it through this day, but I did. That was our longest day.
This was when we stopped. We were able to ride into a park in Stillville, Missouri. And a lot of the residents and people from, I believe, a club or association gave us gifts. They gave us there was some candy, a t-shirt, a couple of handmade things, and they were just really welcoming and super happy to see us, and cheered us on when we rolled into their little park. But on June 15th, we rode from Farmington to Stillville, which was 58 miles. We stopped.
We visited Merrimack Spring Park near St. James, Missouri. This is where they got water and rested during the forced removal. We spent quite a bit of time here just kind of walking around. We fed the fish. And then we got to feed the trout there. We just enjoyed our time there for a small break in between our riding.
This is us walking on a preserved trail at Merrimack, and it was touching to know that our ancestors had been here and we were walking the same footsteps they were.
This day we rode from, I'm gonna butcher this. Springs in Waynesville, Missouri, which was one of the campsites that served our ancestors when we were
You got it.
This is this little clip here is a screenshot from we have little bike computers on our little bikes, and it tracks all the distance, the elevation gain that we do, how long we are moving, the elapsed time, and then the little map that shows kind of where we started and where we ended. But we had those on every day to track all those miles and everything. And so that's just kind of what it looks like at the end of the day.
This is another stretch of the trail that we got to walk with our bikes. I think, we get to be on our bikes, but it just means a little more to get off your bikes and walk it just like our ancestors did. So we got to do that quite a few times all throughout the ride. we also read Daniel Buttrick's journal, and it described the Cherokee people as being hungry, sick, and dying more frequently at this time. I think that's you back there doing that in the picture.
This is me, and I am pointing at Springfield, Missouri. This is where we ended on June 18th. And Will made me stand here so he could send this picture to my mom. This is me on the way back to the Springfield. That was we were really good. And it was pretty
Can you move a little closer to the computer? Thank you.
But it was a really tough day. I think that was close to one of our last days in Missouri. But fulfilling nonetheless to lead the team through a day in Missouri.
Finally, we were out of Missouri. It was miserable, but after 7 days of riding, we finally got to enter Arkansas, and I don't think I was so happy to see Arkansas. It was really awesome. And we were just really close to home with that. This is us standing by the sign with our Cherokee Nation flag.
Here we are going into Oklahoma. We're so close to the state line. And we just knew we were right there after home.
And here we are at close to the end. We still had a whole other day of riding after we made it to Stillwell. And this spot is kind of like into Stillwell. We went to where 5 detachments had stopped and where they finally reached Indian Territory to receive food and supplies. We had been here before. We stopped here when we were going to train one time, and so getting to come back in our kits, sweating, loving the hot air that we were missing in Oklahoma the whole time. It was great, and we got to show our Eastern teammates that this is part of our home.
This is the northern route. So this is what we rode from New Etoda all the way to Southwell, Oklahoma.
Here's us finally arriving at Tahlequah. We're all so excited to see our families and be welcome. It was just a very nice ceremony that we had returning.
I was crying.
And like Maddie said, it was really great to just see family members and friends greet us as we kind of just rode into the pavilion. With our flags on the back.
He's crying.
I'm crying. I see my mom and I start bawling.
I think I'm waiting in that picture. I don't know where you are. I think that's, I don't know. It's kind of a blur.
Oh, this is Sam. Her sisters were there to greet her as all of our family was there to greet us. So this is one of my favorite pictures of her with her sisters because I just know she missed them so much while we were gone. So I was glad that somebody captured this. I think it was Will, maybe, but it was captured, so it means a lot. This is me. My grandmother was there to greet me, and she was just saying, "I'm so glad you're home, and I'm so glad you're safe." So that was a really emotional moment, obviously, to see all my family, but it just meant a lot.
Here's us taking a group photo with some of the alumni riders. Yeah.
It feels good to know that we have a lot of alumni there.
Sorry.
Feels good to know that all these people this is Eastern Band and Oklahoma combined that had all shown up. And it's just we're really grateful that we have a community. Now we get to join them when the next one's coming. Thanks for having us.
Are there any questions? You guys have